Jamie Robinson, car number 66 in RGB this weekend. I'm racing a Genesis, which is a Kawasaki engined Class A RGB car.
Hi, my name's Richard Wise. I'm here at Brands Hatch today racing an AB Performance Sabre in the RGB Championship. It's a Class B car which uses a Honda 1000cc Fireblade engine.
I'm Alistair Bolton. I race a STM Phoenix in Class C RGB. It's my 4th year in RGB. Previously to that I did 5 years in Stock Hatch.
The Class A cars typically are very much, the regulations are opened up to allow people to do the sort of tinkering and modifications that, you know, is inherent with this level of racing really. So it really opens things up. If you're a tinkerer, you can start messing around with your car and making sort of improvements, whereas the Class B and C categories are in there to try and equalise things and let people come in with standard equipment or performance and actually have a good race, knowing that if they've beaten the guy next to him on the grid, it's through their driving really.
No, Class C is for standard Fireblade carburettor engine cars. They're pretty much standard as they come out the bike. We've got the 6-speed sequential box with paddle shift, no traction control, no electronic gauge, nothing like that. So we run the stock tyres, same as all the other classes. Pretty light on the back, so the cars move around a lot and you really got to throw these Class Cs around.
What's the attraction of RGB to you?
I think to me, value for money. These cars will lap Brands Hatch in about, give or take, about 50 seconds, which is not that far off probably a touring car actually.
Some of the biggest significant differences are where the engine's actually mounted. Everybody's running a motorcycle engine, as you know. The different classes that give the different performances. In Class A, some of the guys are running rear engine, some front. Our car's actually rear mid engine. It's actually chain driven off the bike. I mean, what you get is quite a lot of mass over the back end. You end up with quite a light front end, which means you're driving on the throttle a lot. But it's good fun. The performance is there. Obviously, you get the added bonus of the gearbox is all dog engagement, so it's sequential, comes straight off the bike, and the bits and pieces and ancillaries to the engine are all very standard. The performance is fantastic.
The value for money you get is extraordinary, and the fact that we've got a grid here today of, I think, of 30 or 31 cars, almost capacity grid, and that just underlines the fact that I don't think you can get better value for money in terms of the performance we get.
The cars about to come out onto the grid then for the 4th round of the AB Performance RGB Championship. Round 3 was held yesterday and it wasn't particularly happy for some of the drivers that we spoke to. Jamie Robinson was an early retirement and Richard Wise spun his car into the Paddock Hill Bend gravel in its first ever race. He'll be hoping for better fortunes from mid-grid today. On the front row we've got Paul Rogers, who won yesterday's race, and John Cutmore. Row 2 has Matthew Green, but David Whale, who was a retirement yesterday, is missing. The race gets underway then, and a better start made from the outside of row 1. There's a couple of cars that don't get away particularly well there. It's the Spire though that goes into the lead as they head down towards Paddock Hill Bend for the first time. It's John Cutmore that leads Paul Rogers. It looks like Derek Jones is there in 3rd place, and then Matthew Green in the 2nd of the Spires. The white and blue cars is in 4th position. One car didn't get away, the rest of them climbing up towards the hairpin for the first time.
Yep, it was Duncan Marshall that didn't get away off the grid. Well, there he is now being pushed to safety, so we shouldn't have any stoppages. The racing should continue. So as they exit Graham Hill Bend, it is Cutmore in the lead with Rogers followed by Jones and then followed by Green. And we go on board with Austin Greenway looking up the inside of Colin Chapman into Surtees now. Surtees Chapman manages to hold on around the outside. That was the battle for 12th. A little bit sideways there from Jones as he makes his way through clearways and out through towards Clark to start the second lap. Here's a replay of, I presume, the start. Yes, we're on board with Bob Mortimer, so we're going to see, well, there go the yellow flags. A slow starter on the right there and Duncan Marshall's car there on the left, so good work from everyone to avoid all those stricken cars off the start line.
Yes, it was quite a race of attrition yesterday, with the best part of 10 cars failing to make it to the end of the race. A challenge about to be made for the lead there. Just going through shot, it looked like Paul Rogers was challenging the erstwhile leader, which was John Cutmore. Has he made it through? Not yet, but he'll run alongside him as they climb up Hailwood Hill in towards Druids for the 2nd time. And it looks like Paul Rogers this time has made it through. Yes, he has. In the Contour, the David Dawson design car that has already won 3 rounds this season. The first in the hands of Derek Jones at Snetterton when he borrowed the car, but Paul Rogers back in it for Mallory. He won there, he won yesterday, and he's back into the lead here as well.
Yeah, Paul Rogers was about 4 tenths quicker than John Cutmore yesterday in qualifying, so expect him perhaps to pull away a little bit unless Cutmore can find some decent race pace now and keep up the back of Paul Rogers. Of course, we saw that car win at Snetterton, the Paul Rogers car win in the hands of Derek Jones, our current third place man, but now Rogers is back competing in his own car. We've got side by side further down the order as they make their way down into Paddock Hill Bend once again. Battles throughout the order, a little look up the inside there. I think that was Gary Goodyear as they drop down through Paddock Hill up to Drury's. There is Gary Goodyear sweeping up towards Drury's. He was of course the kit car champion last season, but after romping away with that victory has decided to move to the RGB Championship. We're on board with Austin Greenway. He is behind Tony Gaunt as we head down into Graham Hill Bend.
Yes, heading down towards this left-hander then, and there is Tony Gaunt in the Wolf. We saw that car have a big off in the opening round of the championship at Snetterton, but it was fixed for the next race at Mallory Park. Heading through the right-hander now at McLaren towards Clearways and then Clark Curve. You can see Colin Chapman's blue and yellow car a couple of places ahead, but look now, the leader has stretched his legs away from our second place man, so it's still Paul Rogers in the lead. Second place now is John Cutmore. Third place is Derek Jones at this point in time, driving a Class B Fisher Fury. Former champion, of course, Derek Jones in a Class C car and in a Class A car as well. Still waiting for the latest incarnation of the BDN to be ready, and he'll be back out in that in due course. Matthew Green is fourth, and you've got this battle for fifth. Gary Goodyear, the ex-kit car champion, as Jack was mentioning, having done all of the work to convert this car to RGB specification himself. It is the same car with a new bike engine, and Gary was telling me at Mallory Park about all the travails he's had in trying to get the bike engine to work in this car. There you can see the car of Richard Wise, number 88, that brand new Andy Bates built Sabre car, all new for yesterday, and ceremoniously it went into the gravel, though unfortunately just behind him as well is the number 25 car as well.
It's Matt Rowe in the yellow car right behind him. We've got battles going on here. That is the 26 car of Andrew Grant being closely followed by Doug Carter as they drop down through Paddock Hill Bend and up towards Druids. Feeling the need to go defensive, but Carter's got through on the inside there, up at Druids. Is he going to be able to make the move stick? Well, Grant's trying to hang on around the outside, but it hasn't worked out for him. So Doug Carter takes that position, dropping down into Graham Hill Bend. There you can see the 99 car behind them of Richard Wise and Matt Rowe. But as they come through shots now, that is Alistair Bolton right behind them, I think, as they come up through Surtees and McLaren.
So you've got three classes here together. You've got the A-class car of Doug Carter, you've got the B-class car of Andrew Grant, and you've got the C-class leader, Alistair Bolton. He won the class yesterday as well. He also won it at Mallory Park too, did Alistair, the former stock catch racer in the purple car. But there is our race leader, Paul Rogers, increasing his lead all the time. Second place still John Cutmore, having converted this car to running Class A for this season. This battle for the Class B lead goes on. Derek Jones very out of shape there as they came out of Graham Hill Bend, and Matthew Green, who won the class yesterday, is right behind him now. Rest of these cars filtering their way through a big grid here of around about 30 cars for this weekend, although as we said, a few of them didn't make it beyond yesterday's race. Here, this battle for Class B. Derek Jones slows there, it seemed. It looked very easy for Matthew Green to get through.
Yes, well, I was going to hypothesise that perhaps Jones was a bit lacking in straight line speed there, but he's managed to keep up with Green throughout the rest of the Brabham Straight, so perhaps it was just a pure traction off the corner that he suffered with as they head up towards Druids once again, and he closes in a little bit under braking, but that's probably more to do with the concertina effect. And as they exit Druids down towards Graham Hill Bend, it looks as though Green has pulled out a couple of tenths, perhaps half a second, so expect him to begin to clear as we go on board with Austin Greenway. That is Matt Rowe up in front of us in that yellow machine. A cool little rear facing camera we see there as well. That would be exciting if he had someone behind him, but at the moment it's all attack for Austin Greenway as he heads down into Graham Hill Bend. Further up, this is the battle between Lee Baverstock, Tony Gaunt and Alistair Bolton, I think.
Yes, and Bolton it is at the head of that group in Class C, as we've said, still leading that particular battle. Bolton third in the championship last year, as evidenced by that number on the side of his car. Turning their way then through Clearways, Clark Curve, and on towards the Brabham Straight once more. A new lap about to be started then. The Baverstock is in one of the Class B cars, so although he's trying to go past there the number 3 car. He is not battling for position within class, and points are scored within each class as well, rather than on overall position. There's a slower car there in the background, that's the pale blue car. Try and pick that one up in a moment maybe, but this battle rages on. Bolton continues to lead it though.
Heading out of Druids down towards Graham Hill Bend, a sideways moment behind that for Matt Rowe, and will Greenway take advantage? We're on board with him now. There is that slower car in the rear facing camera. Perhaps it was a back marker, not 100% sure, can't quite see from this angle as Greenway begins to close in a little bit on Rowe. Last time we were on board with him, he was I would say double this distance behind, so he's certainly he really closes in under braking into clearways. Can he get better traction out of the corner? Not really. That seems to be where Rowe is at his strongest. Heading down the Brabham straight now. Let's see the comparison in straight line speeds. Greenway is a lot quicker than Rowe into Paddock Hill Bend, and he should make this move stick on the inside. Rowe still there on the outside. They touch and round goes Rowe. Greenway's gone as well, and flying off into the gravel there goes Matt Rowe. An unfortunate incident here.
Yes, certainly was, but we're getting up towards the end of this race now. There is the unfortunate Rowe. He's absolutely beached in the gravel there. No way he is going to get out. But coming out of the final corner, Paul Rogers has just dominated this race again. Up and over the line he comes. The car still unbeaten in 2010, and it's 3 wins in a row now for Paul Rogers. He takes the checkered flag. Only now do we see the second place car come through. That's John Cutmore in the Spire. Third should be Matthew Green. Here he is much further back. Derek Jones has slipped back down the order, but this is still a Class B battle. Tim Hovard it is that won the class at Mallory Park, just battling for third place overall and Class B honours, but he's going to be a whisker away from doing it, I think.
Yep, they cross the line almost together. Gary Goodyear coming home behind them then, and the rest of the field coming across the line. Doug Carter then did take 6th position in the end, and coming across the line finally there I think was Colin Chapman. Here's a replay of the incident between Greenway and Rowe. It looked as though Greenway was a long way past, but Rowe must have been good on the brakes. He squeezes it. Well, that's a difficult one to call.
Yes, it certainly was, but it was Greenway that did survive, and he came home to take 13th position, but Matt Rowe was in the gravel right at the end. This is how the results were then. Paul Rogers it was that took the win by a shade under 9 seconds. Matthew Green the best part of 20 seconds back in 3rd place. Looking at the class win there, Alistair Bolton in 10th place took the Class C win as well. As far as the championship goes though, it's Tim Hovard that leads the way from Paul Rogers by 1 point. Well, Paul, very well done. You must be really pleased with how it's gone at Brands Hatch this weekend.
Oh yeah, it's been a dream weekend really. Cars working fast and no maladies or silly offs, so got to be pleased.
Pretty much 100% record in terms of reliability and so forth then this weekend. It's 4 wins from 4 for this car now, 3 of them for you.
Yeah.
The rest have got a lot to do to catch up with you, it would seem.
Yeah, to be fair, I think John's still struggling to get power from his car, so once that's up, I'm sure he'll be giving me a good battle up the front.